Good afternoon and welcome to Heat 9, the final heat of the club championships here at Manly 16ft Skiff Club for season 2025-26. Not much happening out here on the water at the moment, and we are under postponement currently. I'm Jimmy Bury, and joining me today in commentary is Andrew Dolly Davola. Dol, thanks for driving back down the freeway to join us today.
For such a beautiful day, Jimmy.
Beautiful day. As I said, we're a fair few things going on today. We've got TP52 Fast 40 regatta being held in the same sort of race area as us. If we do get a race underway, we've got the Sirius Cup down in Balmoral, which is the Sea Scouts regatta, and we've got right there on screen the Royal Australian Navy Naval Review for their 125 years. So they've blocked out the rest of the harbour, hence why the TP52s and the Fast 40s are up in our race area. And because of the Naval Review, we will not be able to have a drone up today because all the airspace is locked out. So bear with us with what we've got. We're running with a smaller crew with pretty much so one camera, or we've got two. We've got the one that makes Dolly and I look amazing, but there you go, that one.
Yeah, we won't cross to that one.
We won't be crossing to that too much. But Dol, the final heat, it's all to race for in the 16s. The 13s, I think, are pretty much so locked up. What have we got there in the way of points, mate?
Yeah, Jimmy. As you were saying that, we've got a big front of rain heading towards us from the southeast, which doesn't look very drone-friendly anyway, so the Navy might have done us a favour there. But, mate, we've got, at the moment, we've got a light. It was in the east. It's gone round to the southeast as this rain's approaching us. Very, very light. It's sort of maybe 4 or 5 knots. We'll see what happens when this rain gets to us, but we've also got quite a big storm cell by the looks of it to the northwest of it, and we're going to end up stuck in the middle of it, which usually doesn't bode very well for wind conditions or direction. But we'll see what pans out. Bear with us, folks, and hopefully we get some racing underway shortly. But yeah, as you mentioned, Jimmy, with the point score, we've got a pretty with the 16s, we've got a pretty tight battle. At the top between Zoe Dransfield's Red Pumps Red, currently on 19 points, and Daniel Turner in Buckingham Marine Services on 22. So only 3 points separating the top two boats, and then a little bit of a step back to Modern Concept Constructions with Kurt Hansen on the helm. He's on 32. Canberra Airport following that, IME Geochemical Assessments, Sutec Building in 7th, then Tyler Dransfield's Red Pumps, the other Red Pumps, Botany Access and Imagine Signage, Nathan Wilmot. So the battle today is obviously at the front. Defending champions, Modern Concept Constructions, a little bit out of it, being 10 points off second. The top boat and the third boat both have big drops. So Zoe's got a 25, Kurt Hansen's got a 23, Daniel Turner's dropping a 7. So it'll be interesting to see whether Daniel Turner in Buckingham Marine decides to just sort of sail his own race and roll the dice and hope he can get enough places between himself and Zoe, or whether he chooses to maybe engage her and try and sail her down the fleet. So that is a good situation to be in, because he's dropping a 7. So he could cart them down the fleet considerably if possible and end up dropping his 7, which could change things up a little bit as well. In the 13-foot skiffs, we've got Harkin with an unassailable lead, 8 points against Ollie Ross in IME on 28, tied currently with Lockie Jansen in Buck and Simple on 28. Only another 2 back to Ash Napper in Buckingham Marina, and then a bit of a gap to Taylor Lees in the kitchen maker. So the battle in the 13-foot skiffs will be between Buckingham Marine, Buck and Simple, and Imey duking it out to get the second, third and fourth places. So that should be a good little battle within itself. One long course race today. And yeah, currently we're just waiting. Unfortunately, the TPs and the Super 40s they're moving their course, and we will be moving our course. And we're just going to have to see where we can all fit into this small bit of harbour that we've been left with.
Yep, it's only once every 25 years that they close us out of the harbour, Dole. So, but yeah, I think it's definitely going to be interesting between Buckingham Marine and Red Pumps Red today, and I think Daniel's best chance to, if you're going to sail someone back through a fleet, will be today when it's all light and shifty, and hopefully we see a very good, clean battle between those two boats in particular.
Yes, Zoe's sailing with notable Jimmy's. Zoe's sailing with her normal crew, whereas Ruffy Daniel Turner has brought on
Paul Darmanin.
Yeah.
So, and I don't think Paul's sailed on that boat before. So
with those guys, and he's a pretty decent sized guy too. So, little bit of weight, but very experienced hand and good hand, Paul. Lots of 16-foot skiff experience, and he will be a worthy replacement, that's for sure.
They couldn't time that the entry into the harbour in grey ships with a grey background any better, could they, Dole?
You beat me to it, Jimmy. They're pretty good camouflage.
Yeah, the only time the paint scheme works.
So yeah, we've got a full grey out, rain and grey sky, very low cloud and rain, and yeah, just as the ships come in on their parade for everyone to see, you can't see them. So, and all those poor guys in their white standing on deck, they'll be a bit damp, right?
Beyond damp.
Yeah.
Because they're not allowed to wear any wet weather gear. It's in what they call full dress
uniform,
and that's what they're stuck with, unfortunately. So,
at least it's warm. It won't be too cold. So Steve Isles has just taken Matana, the Manly start boat, over towards Middlehead to try and get away from these yachts. A couple of aircraft coming over now too.
Yeah, well, that's the reason why we can't have drones today, as we said earlier on. But obviously, in this rain, we couldn't have drones up. So, but for those that are just joining us, we are currently under a postponement while Steve Isles and the awesome team on board Matana are trying to figure out where we can fit in and get a decent race course in. I dare suspect where we are that we'll be on Windward Lewidsdale. So that's my guess.
And yeah, looking at the area we're going to have to deal with, what do you think, Jimmy? Probably a full lapper, even in this light wind?
Depends where the TP52s and the others all decide to fit in. We might be on a W8 or 9 or something, because it might only be very short work. So, so if we don't get this race, or this race comes in, does another drop come into it, Dole? Now it's 9 races. Do you know that? Or?
I think they only get one drop for the series.
Right.
Is my understanding.
Yep. Yeah, that was sort of my understanding. So
what they've got, unless they have an absolute shocker today, their drops will be their drops.
Yeah.
While we've got a bit of time, Jimmy, I might just run through some of the...
some of them?
Yeah, there's quite a few crew changes today, so this will soak up a good half hour.
You should have been here half an hour before you were, when Chid had to try and enter them all in the computer, mate. It was...
So he can try and get his little screen grabs right. So starting out, we've got James King joining Altus Consulting. Tom Millam will be steering the Aristocrat. On the Australian sailing team, we've got Kizo Tomashima, Daniel Lynx and Darcy Robbins, all young Australian sailing team squad members. The reason Jimmy and I are here by ourselves today is Jessica Riles will be steering the Bartley construction today. Sophie Hart is stepping on the helm of the Buck and Simple, replacing Tom Cameron. As I mentioned, Paul Darmanin onto the Buckingham Marine with Daniel Turner. Jacob Marks and Benedict McKay joining Archie Cropley on Canberra Airport.
No slouches there.
No, so good to see Jacob coming across, and also another one of our young 18 helms, Tom Kunick, is skippering the Imagine signage.
And he did awesome in the JJs, I thought, Dole.
Fantastic.
I thought he was quite a standout. That team finally came together and on the Lazarus, and they got a couple of wins up.
Two race wins, yep.
Which is very promising if that team stays together moving forward in the 18s.
Indeed. Carranza, we've got Alex Rogers and Cameron Berry joining Timothy Huggan. Daisy Foster on the Sutek, on the helm, it looks like. And lastly, and most notably, we've got Ash Napper on the helm with James Doyle and George Thompson on Typhoon. And another youngster from Manly, Tilly King, on Shebang with another all-girl team with Georgia Clancy and Alana Clancy. So 2 all-girl teams today, Shebang and the Queens of Buckingham.
Oh, it's good to see.
Fantastic.
And if people are just tuning in now, no, we are not broadcasting in black and white. It is very grey, overcast, raining, and I reckon visibility is less than 300 metres currently where we are at the moment.
It is hammering down, and the wind is pretty much... there's a little bit there still. It's dropped off considerably. A couple of knots.
I'm trying to figure out which way is head to wind to stop the water coming in the back of the boat, Dole, and that's near impossible.
Yeah. But it looks like most of the skiffs are either here or not too far away. There's Daniel Turner, left of screen. Currently in second place and hoping to have another shot at the title, which he's won. How many clubbies has Ruffy won, Jimmy?
1 or 2, I think.
Yeah.
Could be wrong.
I would have thought he'd won at least 2.
He's a bit cold there. He doesn't like the rain.
They're not looking very happy, the boys.
The little paddle pop line there of Ruffy.
Not happy, Jan. Yeah. So as mentioned, 3 points off the lead. And while we're speaking of all-girl, having 2 all-girl crews out here, I believe that if Zoe wins the club championship, she will be the first female ever to do so. So
yeah, well, definitely helm, that's for sure.
Yes, yeah.
I did ask the Oracle
Steamer
of, and he seems to think there may have been back in the fourth hand days.
Yeah,
potential. So.
Potential. Not that I can remember though.
No, well,
I've been around for a while. There's Imagine signage.
I didn't know you'd been around that long, Dole.
A fair while. Yeah, Nathan Wilmot and the boys enjoying the rain as well. Not. And just coming into shot now is Tyler Dransfield, Greg Windust and Jay Harris on the red pumps. And I can tell you, not that long ago when I was in the boat park, that boat was sitting there and there wasn't a crew member in sight. I think they might have been enjoying a lunch over at one of the Manly establishments at the wharf, which will remain nameless. We won't give them any publicity, but good to see they got over to the boat and got rigged. Maybe Greg should have swapped himself out for one of his kids today. Dropped a couple of kilos out of the boat.
Yep, no, it's he hasn't got a full wetsuit on, so
he's cutting down the weight.
Cutting down the weight by cutting some wetsuit off. But yeah, I dare say, viewers, that we may be under postponement for a little while yet, so feel free to go grab a refreshment and come on back to us. You are not missing anything currently at the moment. The naval ships are still coming in, I think. Obviously they don't show up on our radar. There they are.
Oh yeah, there they are. Clear as day.
Well, whoever ordered the paint got it right, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Good in battle in a rainstorm. Can't see them. But yeah, certainly thrown up a few issues, and then our normal long course we would run down into Balmoral, but with a bunch of there's a lot of Sea Scouts boats down there doing their annual Sirius Cup regatta. In various different types of boats, and taking a bunch of 16-foot skiffs through the middle of that fleet would be a fairly terrifying experience for those young kids. We don't want to put them off sailing.
No, well, I remember vividly, Dole, many years ago, we had a nor'east course and decent sort of top-end big rig, and running down there into all of those young kids was, the panic stations were going everywhere.
Yeah, just as you think you're clear of them, they panic and tack. Or
yeah. Well, that was the same sort of concern we had during the JJs that we're covering for the 18-footers on the Wednesday in particular. Just maybe looking, we've asked the club if they can move that probably even an hour back or half hour back there. But anchor chain is going down on Matana, so I think Steve Isles is happy that he's got some sort of breeze direction, just whether we got a course to be able to... a decent enough course anyway to run.
Yeah, that's a reasonable sign. The breeze seems to have ticked back a little bit to the left again, a little bit more to the east again. I would think if he can lay a course in on that sort of bearing, he's then, if it does tick back around to the southeast, he's got plenty of scope to move a mark into the middle of the heads once all these naval ships are gone through, which shouldn't be too long. In fact, it looks like that might be the last one coming through the heads now. Maybe hard to see, but I can't see another one behind it at this point in time.
Well, so it's doing its job.
But yeah, Matana getting into position. Still pretty heavy rain, but it looks like it might... Oh, maybe not. It was looking like there's a bit of a break to the southeast, but there's plenty coming from the east. Can barely see North Head, and you can't see Manly, so that's a fair bit of rain.
So who are you liking today in this little to no breeze, Dole?
Well, I don't want to put the commentator's curse on either of the favourites.
Right.
Obviously they're going to do well. They've got a big. They're fighting it out for the championship. They will be up there. If I had to pull out a wild card, if I wanted a wild card, Jimmy, maybe young Ash Napper with Jimmy Doyle and George Thompson on the Typhoon. Love to see Ash get a good result. I know the Army boys will be looking to have a good race, but same again, they're one of the heavier crews. Sutek have been going well. Another probably fairly lightweight team would be the Australian sailing team boat. So, we'll see what pans out. But right now, it's certainly a day that's going to favour the lighter crews. But what we do need to do is get a race underway in order to have a race.
This rain's just getting heavier, Dole. So
It certainly is.
Rain doesn't affect sailing per se, but it does have a detrimental effect once the rain stops generally on the wind, so that could stop us.
And right now it's bucketing down and there is no wind.
Just getting a message through from the great Craig Nichols saying rain will be gone in 15 minutes, looking at his radar. I didn't realise he had a radar installed in Osborne Road. But
or at the table of knowledge. Thanks for the heads up, Craig. He's one of the few who can navigate the new bomb site and interpret it.
But no, I think it's good Alex Hart's been steering the Typhoon. Craig Nichols obviously still owns the boat, and they've managed to promote another young 13-foot kid up into the fold of 16-footers. So I'd like to see the Typhoon get up.
Indeed.
I've known, obviously, Ash since he was born, so be a good little turnabout face if he gets up and gets the W.
Yeah, and super talented. All the Napa kids I coached over many years, and all great sailors. But I always said to Rob that Ash was probably the most naturally gifted of the kids. All the kids are great sailors, but Ash from a young age was a real natural. And as it's turned out, as he's got older, that certainly proved correct. He's and he's just a great young guy too. Really good young character as well as great young sailor. I'm with Jimmy Doyle. Jimmy's got a fair bit of experience, and George Thompson. It's good to see George back. He's been doing a bit of overseas travel after sailing on the Employment Hero for a couple of years, and was in the 13s before that. I know George is very keen for the next couple of years to get back into the skiff sailing again, so good to have George back as well.
Yeah, well, I was talking to the sailing manager during the week, Dole, and the numbers here are sort of steady. 13s, as you know, have increased, which is good to see. But the conversation came around about potentially for next season we might be live streaming at St George again. They're going to have, by the looks of it, a fleet of 23 to 26 16-foot skiffs down there. So hats off to the Manly Club for their efforts that they've put in to build the fleets, and I think they're going to have good to see. Like, I think when Manly amalgamated with St George, I think they had a total of 4 boats. So it's good to see that every sport's in decline in participation numbers, but the skiffs seem to be growing in numbers. So that is fabulous to see. We're just sort of. And the Nationals are going to be held at Middle Harbour 16-foot Skiff Club. We're working very hard with the board there at Middle Harbour to try and get the live streaming going for the Nationals. So we'll be in touch with a few people because we will need some help to make it all happen.
Unfortunately, that puts paid to yours and my skiff comeback campaign, Jimmy, because we'll be too busy with sail media to go
I think I'm fine with that, Dole. With the when I stopped sailing, it was taking me through to Thursday to get over the weekend. The life of playing rugby and sailing skiffs does wonders to your knees, your shoulders, and every other part of your body. So it's. I wish I could still sail a skiff competitively. I don't think I'd even get through a race these days. But yeah, it is.
You could help a physio pay off their waterfront home, though.
No,
easy, I reckon.
No, I'm not. I'm not that sort of guy.
But no, to go back to St George, mate, it is fantastic, and to me, like what a fantastic place to sail 16s. Botany Bay, very few boats out there sailing. I believe the days of the jet ski on Botany Bay are numbered. There's talk that they're going to get banned east of what's the bridge next to the club? you tell me, Jimmy, what's the name of the bridge right next to the club?
The one next to the club.
Yeah,
is,
okay.
Well, the other one is Tom Ugley's. So that one,
Captain Cook Bridge. Captain Cook Bridge. So no jet skis east of Captain Cook Bridge, we believe. They've got a beautiful new club down there that was brought to them with the help of Manly, the consortium between Manly and St George. The sailors are very well supported, and I'm absolutely not surprised that the skiff numbers are building down there rapidly. And of course, our two-time national champion Sarah Lee in Bosca with Kurt and Keegan, Bosca Building, sail out of St George. So, you get to sail against the best as well.
Yep, yeah, no, it's got a lot going for it down there, and the facilities in place for sailing are exceptional. I know the club secured the use of the park next or to the west of the club to hold larger regattas and things like that. So that's another good thing for them. They've got, as I said, the numbers are building down there, which is great to see. And I think at Middle Harbour we'll see a spike in numbers there for next season, with them obviously hosting the Nationals. The racing will generally be on the same waters as Manly that we race anyway. We all often cross paths out here.
In the Sound?
Yep. For those that have joined us, we are currently under postponement, not due to rain. We don't get rain delayed like the cricket, but the wind is swinging around and swinging around and swinging around, and now not much of it.
Yeah, Jimmy, you did mention the 13s. The last couple of years we've seen a massive uptake in the 13 fleet. Record numbers are now being adopted by the Belmont Club as well. And, the fantastic thing about that is a large percentage of those youth sailors who are in the 13 class now, in the next few years, will be in 16-foot skiffs. So the class just continues to grow, and while we're doing good things with the junior classes, Manly Juniors and Flying 11s, feeding into the 13, the future is looking very good. And, we really have become the premier skiff class in Australia. Biggest numbers, sort of most competitive fleets. It's the red concrete on screen. That team are acquiring Zoe Dransfield's red pumps boat for next season, so that'll be a great step up for them. There's the Australian sailing team foreground that I mentioned before. Daniel Links, Darcy Robbins and Kizo Tomashima, three very talented young sailors on that boat. Bit to learn in the 16s. It's a different animal to the 49er and the 49er FX. But we've seen some interesting mix of crews on the Australian sailing team boat this year.
Yeah, but it's good to see. Dole, just seeing a couple of jets flying over doing weird things. So having the Australian sailing team in and around our sailors, particularly the younger ones, it provides them with exposure to what else is out there for them. The advantage for the Australian sailing team is big fleet racing. So when our athletes go overseas in the next couple of weeks to compete in Europe and so on, they've already got that big fleet experience, which, in their training squads and that they have here, they don't get. And at national level, they've only got a handful of boats to turn up to their nationals. I think a boat that you built early on in the 49ers won the 49ers last year by memory, Dole. So, it was definitely,
Yeah, they don't get big turnouts.
No, and this is a good part for them. But here comes every bit of aircraft that the Australian Navy owns on screen. We're not out here for the naval review, people. We're out here trying to get the Heat 9 completed of the...
We're trying to keep
the Australian... the Manly 16-foot Skiff Club final heat 9 their club championship underway. But the breeze is not playing games right at this present moment.
You can hear jets, but you can't see them because they're in the clouds. They're coming down below. Big over the top of us. I've been listening to them all week, coming out of Williamstown, flying up the coast over the top of us. They're probably doing a bit of training for this weekend. Daniel Turner coming past to say something.
He's worried that we're going to war. He's young enough to be recruited.
Yeah. Send him off.
You and I, Dole, we're safe.
Ruffy can join the electric corps.
He wouldn't know what to do. He doesn't get paid cash if he joined the Navy.
Now it looks like Zen's coming over to say good day to us too, Jimmy.
That'd be probably...
We know a few people on board here.
I can see the bloke hiding behind the mainsail out of the rain, Jack Andrew, down the back.
Lindsay Stead up on the bow. Shane Ganaria. Yeah.
They've got the live stream going on board. There you go.
And they're filming us at the same time. Malcolm Page. There they are. Pagey in the white hat on the right there. He was filming us while we were filming him. Oh, Jack's walking over to the helm too. That's dangerous. Lucky there's no breeze.
I don't think that'd be... No one's that silly. But, yeah, so that's the other problem. If you're just joining us, viewers, you're not missing any racing per se right at this very moment. We're under postponement due to breeze swinging around. We've also got a few other problems out here where we've got the TP52s and the Super 40s who have been moved out of their traditional race area down the harbour up into the Sound, so it's all going to be very crowded up here if we do get some racing underway. But keeping a loose listen to the radio, Dole, as soon as they sort of go, all right, we're set for this, then they go, the breeze has changed, so then they're resetting again.
Yeah, right now it wasn't looking very promising a couple of minutes ago, and we've got a little bit of breeze filling in from the probably east-northeast, a little bit north of east. Little bit of breeze filling in, but unfortunately that's probably not great as far as us mixing it with the yachts, because it leaves us both a very sort of narrow section of harbour to race in between sort of Middle Head and the quarantine area around a Little Manly. It's about the only place you could put a top mark at the moment.
Just getting the players' comfort sorted out up here, Dole. Getting the fan installed up the front. It's very muggy out here. But
that's a lot better though. Thank you, Jimmy.
But once we get once the rain at least stops, we'll get that lens cleaned. There's no point in us cleaning that right now because it'll end up like that by the time they get down off the roof from cleaning it.
It'll be wet again. So I wonder what's going through Zoe Dransfield's mind right now. She'd probably be pretty happy if they called it off, I'd imagine.
Look, I think out of both Red Pumps Red and Buckingham Marine, I think the calmness on board Red Pumps Red will be a lot better, especially with Hugh there. You know, like both of us have sailed against Hugh. We know what a cool, calm, collected bloke Hugh is, and he'll be making sure that Zoe just stays focused on her job and the job at hand. You know, they've only got to just stay with Buckingham's today. That they don't have to go out and set the world on fire. And, you know, I think for Zoe having that experienced older head, I'll say, I won't say old head, but having Hugh Stoddart on board will be a huge bonus on the Red Pumps Red today. Yeah,
and I know that while Dan Turner was coming past making comment to us and having a bit of a light-hearted time. Red Pumps, who are on screen there now. Hugh would have his head out of the boat, and him and Zoe would be looking upwind, and Jamie as well in the bow, and they'll be assessing what this breeze is doing. They won't just be sitting around wondering what's going to happen. Almost looks like they're just testing a couple of modes there at the moment, where to sit and what to do. It's like they got Jamie sort of laid up on the bow a bit.
Well, they got the spinnaker chute, don't they? So it's a
They
Van
do.
Munster boat. So you just sort of poke Jamie right up in the bow under the false foredeck, wouldn't you? And just stay there until we need you.
These days, mate, there's no way you're going to fit Jamie up in there. He's one solid young man these days. He's as strong as an ox.
Well, if the fitness of his father is anything to go by, I can't imagine Jamie's allowed to sit around on the couch and do nothing. But, there's young Jessica Isles at the helm of Bartley Constructions. It's another one I think will go reasonably well today. I did message Jess to see if she'd like to jump into commentary with us today, and she goes, "I'm really, really sorry. I just said yes to steering the Bartley Construction." So it was a little bit late. We were a little bit distracted last week with other works, and I didn't get around to jumping the gun to get Jess in with us before anyone else.
I reckon Jess would rather be sailing than talking dribble with us, Jimmy.
Not at the moment, I don't think, Dole.
maybe.
Like
It's a lot drier on here, isn't it? Yeah.
Definitely a lot drier on here.
Yeah. And just like that, the breeze has evaporated. As Jimmy was saying, the rain disappears and so does the wind.
And that yacht that was just on screen, which, there it is, over there to the right of screen, that is Sean Langman's Back to Black. That was one of our representatives at the Admiral's Cup.
No, that one's actually the Black Sparrow, Jimmy.
No, Oz 1 over here.
To
the right of screen.
I was looking at what was on camera. In the background there.
Yeah, in the background. The Black Sparrow in the foreground.
Very similar boats.
I'll tell you what, though, that Back to Black, it lights up. When we were down in Hobart watching it come up the Derwent, it was actually surprised me for a 40-foot boat how quick that thing can go.
Yeah, they were looking very good at the end of the Hobart and the run down the coast. They were really closing in on that IRC victory for a little while there, but it just slipped away from them, unfortunately.
I've just noticed, Dole, also, we've got Middle Harbour Yacht Club got a race track out here as well. So three clubs all trying to race in the one area. Doesn't get any better.
Hopefully the Sirius Cup don't decide to come out here as well.
Well, yeah, I guess the old adage, we don't own the harbour, but it's is what it is.
Yeah, well, our hand has really been forced this week with the whole rest of the main harbour being taken up.
And there's the red concrete on screen just really
showing the yachties how it's done with the legs over the side.
Yeah.
Just having a bit of a relax while they wait to see what is going to happen here.
I don't think much is going to happen, or much is going to transpire. The race committee will do the best that they can, but there's not much else we can do at this point in time other than hurry up and wait.
Look at that out to the west, Jimmy. That's looking pretty ugly out there too. So we're looking back west now on picture back towards Balmoral. And it looks pretty ugly back there too. Sea Scouts are pretty hardy though. They're all still out there.
got the Sutek boys in the foreground being the
There they
clowns that they normally are.
And we love them for it. Will Dargaville on there today, replacing James Lawera Fernandez.
Not a shabby replacement at all, the old dogs.
Certainly is, yeah, good hand. And just adds to the vibe of that team.
Oh.
They fit right in.
They don't need any help, that's for sure, Dole. It's always, if you're looking for a party at an event, find those guys and you'll find the party pretty quickly.
Yeah, they're good boys. Good boys and good sailors. I think part of the reason they sail is just so they can come down to the club afterwards.
I think it was their first season. Maybe I went into the change rooms to get my bag to leave. And they're sitting in there having dinner. I said, guys, don't be sitting in here. Come out and socialise. And it was, I think, probably one of the worst moves I ever did because I ended up staying there with them. And
the rest is history.
The rest is history. Can those boys party?
Yeah, good fun. There's the Matana, still with the AP flying and facing in the wrong direction.
Borrow was saying off one of our co-commentators, Dole.
Who was that?
Painted ships on painted oceans.
Yeah, it's definitely that today.
Trademarked by Mr. Peter Shipway himself.
And they're not percolating today.
Definitely not percolating.
No, none of that. Shippo's probably out reviewing the Navy review, I'd reckon.
Yeah, well, he ducks off, I think, on Monday overseas
to Helsinki.
To Helsinki for his little quick tour. As I said, viewers, we are under AP currently due to the lack of wind, so feel free to duck off, grab a refreshment and come back and check in 5 minutes and see how things are.
That's the fluid on screen there, Chad Beebe with James Smithers and Davey Burkett.
The roulettes there on the screen. Well done, Piers, good job.
Nailed it. Get that yacht out of the way. So yeah, with low, now they've got the smoke streaming out. Awesome.
It's how long since they've last been used, Dale. It's just all the bad oil blowing out.
Burning off the two-stroke. Clearing the cylinders. There's Nozomi going across the screen.
Eliza Kirby, Connor Hay and Hugh Skeen on board there.
Connor Hay, the son of another great skiff sailor, Stephen Hay. And there they are, the current series leaders. Zoe Dransfield with Hugh and Jamie Stoddart. Oh, and already giving chase coming up behind them and coming past us as Daniel Turner and not letting them out of their sight already, getting a bit of practice in.
Yeah, it's normally a good sign that Ruffy's nervous after sailing against him and being close in championships with him. He starts following and tries to intimidate you, and you just got to say a couple of words to Ruffy which ruffles his feathers.
Not a very intimidating figure, Ruffy, I've got to say.
No,
he lets his sailing do the talking.
Yeah, smother your kindness, Ruffy.
All the TP-52s have decided to come right into the middle of the fleet and say good day to all their mates. 52-foot yachts in between 16-foot skiffs. So the sky's clearing up a little, but the breeze is currently not playing the game.
No, what wind there is there, Dole, is coming from a couple of different directions, so it's currently not very favourable racing conditions, and I think the TP52s and the fast 40s look like they're heading for home. They've decided, Dennis Thompson from the CYCA has decided game over for them.
Which is good for us. And I think
stay awake, Dole, stay awake.
It's been a long week. I think they might have already got one or two races in earlier today, and they were out yesterday as well, racing, so they're not super pressed for their schedule. And they're racing for the Gold Cup.
I think that's what it's called, the Gold Cup. And, you know, it was originally just the TP52s that were in it, and due to participation numbers and things like that, they decided to invite the fast 40s along as well, so it gives them a little bit of atmosphere to the whole show.
Yeah, it makes a bit more of an event of it.
So we'll get that screen cleaned up sooner or later. Here's a young team on Texaco, the 16ft Skiff. Texaco, sorry.
Gus Griffin on the helm with Ewan Darlow. Gus has been doubling up in the Flying 11 and the 13-foot skiff, so doing a lot of sailing. And it's really showing in his sailing. He's improving at a very rapid rate. I expect to see him moving up through the fleet next season to the very pointy end, I think. Heidi Bates, our national champion and club champion without even sailing today, moving up into the 16-foot skiffs. They've been doing a bit of both this year. There they are now. Yep. With Orlando, Sadlick.
They, believe it or not, Dole was still training a couple of weeks ago for this. You know, like for them, it's no stone left unturned, is their attitude towards it all, and it's good to see that, you know, they take the time to come out and go training, and as we've seen this year, that speaks volumes for what they've been able to achieve, even though they did the Nationals separately. Orlando was off doing the 29er Nationals, where he was successful in that, and Heidi won the 13-foot skiff Nationals.
Indeed. And then fitting in some 16 sailing on the fire stopping in between. So
there's Cadence and Co on screen, Dole.
Another team who's improved as the season's gone on a lot. So good team. Toby Williams with Zara Wyatt. Yeah, your mate Mr. Langman's coming over to say g'day too. Oh, more jets over the top. Just let me know when you're about to do it. I'll flick to Gold to you. Look at the camera, you guys. Yep. There goes the back to black. Sean Langman with Brett Van Munster and
Dunphy was on there.
Yeah. Plenty of current and former skiffies.
Yeah, he's. It's one good thing with Sean. He's always had that ability to handpick some of the best skiffies going around to jump on and sail with him.
Yeah, he attracts good teams. And as you mentioned, successful campaign. He would have liked to have done better, but I think with short notice they did a great job in the Admiral's Cup, along with the team on board Zen. And great that he's got that boat now back here in Australia and campaigning it after the Hobart.
Well, as does Gordon Katelby with Zen, that was the other Aussie boat.
Yeah. And keeping those core teams together, no different in a yacht to a skiff, having that continuity goes a long way to success. Now, the upside of them going is it looks like we might have the sound to ourselves, Jimmy.
Might have the sound to ourselves, Dole, but I think, you know, what you go and do during the week sometimes on another boat, we probably should have bought that equipment out with us today instead of the camera equipment, talking about Dolly going fishing all the time, the mad fisherman.
Well, not mad, I just enjoy it. I am mad, but yeah.
I'm just rolling it all into encompassing it, Dole.
I just love being on the water, Jimmy, no matter what I'm doing, whether I'm sailing, windsurfing, fishing, or just hanging out with some mates.
Yeah, there's no better place, is there?
Yeah, it's my happy place, and that's where I like to spend the majority of my time. Orlando and Heidi having a quick chat to Brady Lowe, one of the Australian sailing team coaches who'd be out here keeping an eye on the Australian sailing team skiff, but I know he also keeps a very close eye on the skiff racing and watching the top boats, seeing what they're doing, because that translates over to what the Australian sailing team are, one, trying to achieve in the skiffs, but also in the skiff-type boats like the 49er and the 49er FX. Kurt Hansen, who's skippering the Modern Concept Constructions, he's also campaigning a 49er towards LA in the Australian sailing team squad, I believe.
We are on the move again with the start boat, Dole, so we're not getting any closer to a start, but they're trying.
I'm thinking you might be looking over there to go and drop an anchor. Ever hopeful, aren't I? Ever optimistic.
Got to be something.
Like he's got his nav lights on in daylight, so...
Well, we've got ours. I put ours on when that rain squall came through. Yeah, at least if something crashes into us, we've ticked the box that we've done that part right.
Done the right thing. There they are.
But while he's underway and he's got the black ball up, which the black ball there symbols you're at anchor.
Yeah.
So
too hard to go up there and move it. He'll be at anchor in a minute.
Prior preparation, you think, Dale?
Yeah. He's ready. I think that's what's going to happen here, and then we'll see if we can get this breeze to hold and get a direction so that we can get some marks in and get a race underway. Hopefully. Because the troops are getting a bit restless on the skiffs. Now they're wet and miserable.
Well, they haven't done what they normally do, Dole, and that's slowly march towards the club.
Edge towards the northern end of the bay, yeah. Usually that sends a message to the race officer.
I think it was a couple of years ago, I think Chit's got a photo of Hugh Lester sitting on the front of the boat. No other skiffs around, everyone had gone home, and Hugh goes, well, I guess we go home. So that was it.
Yeah, we did that a couple of weeks ago at the Etchell State Championships to Steve Isles, who's our RO here today. Everyone started edging towards the club and he was on the radio going, hey guys, I haven't said you could go home yet. But eventually he conceded. There was a lot less, there was zero wind that day. At least at the moment we might have a couple of knots, but that's about it right now. We're heading a long way across past Middle Head right now. So I'm guessing he's probably thinking of putting a top mark somewhere off North Head to get some distance on it.
That's South Head there in the background, but the Mark Lane boat, the Hugh Cook, is down here as well, Dole, so down in the vicinity of the start boat. So I don't like our chances of getting a race underway anytime
too soon.
Too soon, mate.
Might be a couple of these skiffs telling the start boat, no, just send us home. Just send us home. It certainly won't be Daniel Turner.
Yeah, well, they've got a barbecue on, which has become tradition for club championship heats after the race. So, and then next week at Manly, they got the skiff swap day, which is where the skiffs take out all the juniors and show them what the 16-foot skiffs and the 13-foot skiffs are all about, and hopefully spark some interest in those kids to continue on the pathway.
And every now and then a couple of parents also jump on board, and from that we've seen a couple of parents buy skiffs in the last season or two.
That was sort of the backstory of the whole Queens of Buckingham, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yep.
So, a part of it.
And also the Buck and Simple.
Yep. So there's Georgia Clancy, Alana Clancy and Tilly King there on screen on Shebang.
As I said earlier, great to see another all-female team out here. See, Naval Ensign, is that correct, Jimmy?
That is correct, Dole. The Royal Australian Naval Ensign.
That's a pretty big flag.
Yeah, well, the counterweight hanging off the bottom of it. You don't want to be the bloke catching the flag when they bring it in.
You don't want that falling off into your skiff.
No, definitely not.
No.
There's Nathan Wilmot and the Imagine Signage team. Had a bit of a chat to Scotty last night, in particular about their signage and so forth and their logo, and gave him a few suggestions. And he's going to take that on board.
Since they've gone to the black mainsail, I think it's better.
Yeah.
But, so you told Scotty the Imagine signage needed more imagination.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well, I did notice when he was over at the JJ's, they had on their sleeve of their shirts, Imagine That. And I said, well, that'd look pretty good on the spinnaker.
Yeah.
It was like Ella Who back in the day.
Exactly. I was about to say, Jimmy, good call. Yeah.
So, yeah, there's... Get creative, Scotty, is all I'm sort of saying.
So still no anchor down on the start boat. They're thinking.
Talking about Ella Bechet, just noticed on the Canberra airports, boom, they've got Ella Bechet sponsorship. So.
Oh, they do. Maybe they're getting some free sunscreen or something.
Yeah, we used to have a little co-sponsorship with Ella Bechet back in the fire stopping days, Dole, and we got free sunscreen and free after sun care treatments. So
That's why you've got such beautiful complexion, Jimmy.
Absolutely, Dol.
Soft, supple skin.
Yeah, it was what's John Hallis, wasn't it?
Certainly was.
John
I've
Hallis
been in
was
contact with John recently too.
one of the most loveliest blokes you'll ever meet.
Indeed. So my wife's in about a week's time going to an art exhibition of his in Byron Bay. So he's an artist these days.
An artiste.
Yeah.
Very accomplished skateboard rider as well.
He's a pretty cool guy, John Hallis. Very cool guy.
Yeah.
He was a great addition to the 18 fleet back in the day. It was a lot of fun. Fluid lads. Dave Burkett and James Smithers have done a few miles together.
Burkett wants to know if we're getting paid by the hour.
We wish. We wish, Berkey.
Berkey, one of the great characters of 16ft Skiffs at Manly for a very long time.
He's a funny man. Yeah. And his kids are carrying on the tradition.
Are they what?
Yeah, good fun. Clint Bowen from Fluid, he may be tuned in later. Shout out to Clint. He's off doing his annual duties, being an inaugural part of the Tour de Cure cycling trip. I think this year they are going from Canberra to Hobart or something, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
They're going to Hobart?
They're going to Hobart, but I was trying to figure out how they're pedalling across the Bass Strait.
Well, you get on a boat, Jimmy. But, look how low this chopper's coming in.
I think this is probably retribution for me having a dig at the ADF about wanting a little area to fly a drone.
Height.
Yes.
Yeah, we wouldn't want a drone up now, that's for sure. Jeepers.
We should cut some of that stuff of the military and sell it to them. What do you reckon?
Get something out of today.
It doesn't look like we're going to get much sailing, unfortunately, Dole, so it's very much so not the day to be sailing.
I know Steve's pretty determined, though. He'll want to do everything in his powers to get a race away. But right now, it is not looking too promising, folks. But that can change pretty quickly.
It's not forecast to, that's for sure, Dole.
Yeah. Oh, nothing too serious to come through, no. There's some very stormy clouds to the west of us right now, but it is clearing up to the east. But, yeah, that stuff out to the west has got a fair shelf on that cloud. Never a good sign. That's looking out to the nice bit, folks. Whereas out to the west, it looks a bit more like Armageddon. Stand by.
Stand by to stand by is
We're doing
all we
plenty
can do.
of that.
You know, there's like Steve, I know he's under the guideship of Hugh Lester, who's probably one of the best international ROs, and you know Steve's hoping to progress down that line and get back to sailing as well. And you know, Steve will be chafing at the bit to get this underway, but he's not going to just get it underway for the sake of getting it underway.
Ably assisted, usually by his wife, Catherine.
Yep.
And I can see Sean Lilly on there as well, also one of our regulars.
And Jeanette Pennington, she's been jumping in and doing a fair bit. That's Jeanette there in the red jacket.
top. The girls.
Here comes that's it. That's all we've got of helicopters in the Australian Defence Force. Can't be any more.
Yeah, I saw them over Manly a minute ago, so they've obviously zipped down the coast and come around North Head.
You've been eating your carrots this week up at Mungo, have you, Dol?
I could see them over Manly, yeah.
You generally can't see half that distance. Folks, at this stage we are still under postponement with really no sign of anything to happen in a hurry.
We should have put a couple of park interviews in the can to show the...
Play the Louis Brake and Fang Warren one from the 18s from last week, and then the Herman one. What do you reckon?
Yeah. We probably should have had a chat to Zoe and Ruffy in the park earlier, but we're a bit pressed for time.
Yeah, a few little
We had
issues.
A few technical issues this morning. Had to swap out some cameras last minute. Buckingham boys just having a chat there. So what's? No, I don't think he'd be saying pull the pin. I think
he wouldn't be wanting it pulled. That's for sure.
He'd be saying let's get going. Because this condition could be a real lottery. Anything could happen.
Well, just the angles of boats, I think, are sailing upwind over on the left of us to boats that are sailing upwind on the right of us, are way different. So you've only got to get the zig and the zag wrong, and you can go from hero to zero.
A few hedging their bets, getting between us and the club. Trying to short if it does get canned, trying to shorten up the distance back to the club. So.
And one of them would definitely have to be the Modern Concept Constructions. I'd have it as a guess with Chris Williams.
Yeah, no, Chris is just here. He's not too far. Furthest up is at Canberra Airport are up there.
And Imey Barnabas build.
Yeah, Imey Barnabas build furthest up, and the red pumps.
Well, that's a
red pumps
red.
Yeah.
Well, that's, I guess, Zoe saying, "Come on, let's go. It's all over."
Yeah. Yeah, she would not mind if this got called off. Take the title. There's the all girls. Georgia, Alana and Tilly. Ruffy suggesting that I get on the boat and he gets off and does the commentary. Not happening, Ruffy. Sorry, mate. And I think it's got a lot more chance with you, with him on the helm than with me on the helm somehow, especially in this breeze.
He wouldn't want me on the helm, that's for sure. Craig Nichols just messaged asking, has Windus gone home? The answer is no, Craig. He is out here, I'll be having against his will almost.
Yeah.
this weather.
Still, he's not one of the ones that are getting halfway towards the club. He's hanging around near the boat. Yeah. If you're into aircraft and ships and not sailing, it's a good day.
Well, that's a Seahawk.
Thanks, Jimmy.
There you go. Learned something.
Yep. I'm not big on my helicopter names. Now I know.
It's like a Black Hawk, but because it's a Navy, it's a Seahawk. There you go.
Yep. I see John and Helen Dransfield are out here to watch their kids and hopefully watch Zoe win the championship.
Yeah, but they've...
There they are.
There they are on screen. JD has offered up his rib as an additional support boat for this season as well, also, which is good to see. You know, like, can never have too many rescue assets out here if it all goes pear-shaped. We need as many boats as possible, and you want two better people to come and rescue you. That's them.
Yes, indeed. They've got plenty of sailing experience. I'm not sure about their rescue experience, but they certainly know what they're doing, and they've done a great job raising some very good sailors in that family. Their youngest Beau will be out here on the 16ft Skiff today. Tyler, of course, skippering Red Pumps, and Zoe in Red Pumps Red. Yeah, Beau sails the Imagine Signage 13. Jesse taking a little bit of a break from sailing, I think concentrating on study and work and his music, but a multiple Australian champion in the junior classes as well. I'm sure he'll find his way back to sailing at some point. Jesse's the oldest in the family.
Coming up on an hour, Dolly, and still no closer to getting underway. So take a bit of this opportunity to thank all of our wonderful volunteers. They're doing a bit of a selfie on the start boat, but good to see. Without our volunteers, this sailing at Manly wouldn't happen, and we have a magnitude of volunteers all the way through to probably one of the most loveliest ladies our club has got in Tina on the deck back at Manly. She sits there on the deck each week, and any boats that come back to the club, she radios them through to the start boat in case they missed it. And Tina's been doing that since she moved her... there's all the volunteers. They've worked out the cameras on them. Michael McMahon on there, another one of our life members. Another tireless volunteer, even though he says he's stepping back, he's never does.
Yeah, from everyone on the Matana to our rescue boat operators, the team on the Mark Lane boat that always do a superb job. They give up every Saturday to come down here and then come for regattas, and they just do a magnificent job, and it's a long summer. It's fantastic that they give up their time, and as Jimmy mentioned, my favourite, Tina, back at the club. What a magnificent asset she's been to the club. And Michael McMahon, you mentioned, on the boat there today. Very long-serving official at the club and former sailor. And without these people, racing does not happen.
No, well, some classes, as you know, Dole, like back when the 505s were out of Middle Harbour, they had to do rabbit starts and things like that to start because they couldn't get the volunteers to help. So, they come out and sort of lay the course and hope that that's where the breeze stayed, and then they go back in and they do a rabbit start. So, rabbit start for the viewers at home, Dole.
Well, one boat starts on port, and everyone on starboard has to pass behind it, and the rabbit can't tack off until every boat's passed behind them. So you don't need a start line, you just need a top and a bottom mark, and you can have a race. There's our Queens of Buckingham in their bright pink outfits, makes them easy to spot.
And shout out to Pat at Vycobi that decked them out from head to toe. If you're looking at upgrading any of your sailing kit, get in touch with the team at Vycobi and tell them the team at Sail Media sent you along, and they'll look after you.
14 years in business.
Yeah.
Today or yesterday? Because if you're quick, they had a sale on for their 14th anniversary.
And a couple of the nicest business people you ever come across, and very generous to the amount of things that they sponsor. They could have probably have retired if they didn't sponsor anything, I think, Dole.
Indeed. Even I look good in Vycobi gear. It's just pretty hard to do.
I don't think those blokes have got Vycobi on somehow.
Here comes the flag. That's a big flag. Very big flag.
Have it a guess that was made at Harry West Flags by Justin and the team. Well, I went to follow the Matana where they took off and exit left, and now they're reversing
back to us.
So, come on, Steve. There is a fuel crisis going on with the price of petrol, and us sitting out here is not helping my bank account.
Yeah, or fuel on the waterfront. If you folks at home, if you think it's expensive at the servo, fuel on the waterfront is just ridiculous at the moment.
Yeah, well, my dad, Greg, said, just get some jerry cans. And I said, Dad, the boat takes 800 litres of fuel. It's a
lot of jerry cans.
A lot of jerry cans. On an average day for live streaming, we chew through around about 100 litres of fuel. So it's...
Anchor's gone down.
I can see Imey Barnabas build out the front of Munno's place.
Ooh, they're a long way up. They've had enough.
Way up at Smedley's Point.
That's a big call from them, but...
Can they move up or down in the
I'm just checking.
points?
They're in the mix. They're on 43. They're only 1 point behind in fifth. They're on 43. Here we have the points, and one point behind Canberra Airport. And, they could get up to fourth. Third's a bit of a stretch. They're not going to catch Modern Concept, but you and I know Trent Barnabas and Rob Napper fairly well. Jimmy, they're fairly competitive fellas.
Well, so's young Joel. So's Joel. Joel's very competitive. He's did an internship over at the Red Bull team for the Sail GP, and I believe he's poking around at the America's Cup for an internship there as well. So, got to be in and around it to be made part of it. And young Joel is definitely someone you'd take on your team if you're picking your teams.
Oh, I think he's on quite a few radars, Jimmy. Yep.
Yeah.
And he's also been working at Brett Van Munster's boat building facility, so comes from a boat building family, obviously, the Beashall family. So, yeah, he's got a few, for a young guy, he's got a few skills up his sleeve, besides being an exceptional sailor.
He turned 18 last Sunday.
Yeah. We saw him over at Double Bay.
Yep.
So, what do you think about this breeze, Jimmy? There's a little bit there, maybe 4 knots.
There's a little bit there, but is it what you call fair sailing? Is my only concern, Dole.
Yeah.
Like you quite often see regattas finish on, normally on a high, and the last thing we want to do is finish this season on a low. I think if we can definitely get one in, but if it's not going to be fair across the board, I'd like to see it. Probably put the queue in the rack for the season and come back next week for the swap day, and then come back beginning of September for the start of the next season.
My main concern is this front from the west is starting to move over the top of us, so that is coming our way. I'm saying that. Jimmy's going to have a look at the radar, I think. Yeah, there we are. Piers is just showing that cloud there now.
Appears to be staying out west, Dole. It's
okay.
Sort of out past Parramatta. Like if you're at Badgerys Creek, you might be a little bit damp.
But yeah, the front of it, the high leading edge of it has gradually moved over the top of us. But it looks like the base of it's still fairly set back towards the west. You can see the angle on it there, and that's reaching right out over the top of us on the harbour.
You learnt all that working at Bethwaite's, didn't you? At Starboard Products off Frank at lunchtime?
Oh, many hours looking at clouds, Jimmy. Yeah. Just trying to see, where's Barnabas Building ended up, Jimmy? Are they right up the top of the bay now, are they? Or out to the right? Oh, there they are on the right.
Picket lining right off the end of Smedley's
Point, yeah.
Yeah, I think their plan is if they start seeing skiffs come their way, they'll be first home, but I think they're just a little bit too far away if this
I think the biggest
AP comes
if
down.
this AP comes down, I reckon they're more than 5 minutes away.
Yes, absolutely agree. That's them there on screen.
Right up the bay.
And the laser that's up there was competing in the Manly Yacht Club's Women's Day race, which they got lasers, they got the yachts, they got everything going this weekend for women in sailing, which is good to see. And they've been doing that for many, many years, the Manly Yacht Club, and it's a good pathway for that yacht club to get more female participation, which is good to see.
Just another regatta this weekend for us to cram into this end of the bay.
Well, there's nowhere else you're allowed to sail.
No.
And, unfortunately, viewers, we are down to the one camera. We don't have a drone. We don't not allowed to fly a drone today. It was the normal restricted airspace was extended, and we're normally allowed to operate to a level of 200 feet on Sydney Harbour, and that was closed down to 0 feet, so no drone activity for us today.
I think that goes all the way through to 6 o'clock, is it, or is it just all day?
Well, in the notice to airmen, it basically says that we'll be advised.
Yeah.
So,
don't even think about it.
Pretty much. There's a bit of movement on the station here on board the Matana. The AP has come down. There was no sound signal. I dare say they're attaching another flag to it, Dole.
Uh-huh. There it is.
Well, congratulations to young Zoe Dransfield.
Indeed, we definitely want to, despite not having a race, we definitely want to pay tribute today to Zoe Dransfield, Hugh Stoddart and Jamie Stoddart on what has been an exceptional season. They've always been up in the mix. They're probably a little bit disappointed with their nationals result, but they had a great nationals. But I think they were a good shot at winning it, and they've had a fantastic season. Looking forward to them. They're looking at a new boat for next summer. I'm hearing there's a couple of other things in the wings for Zoe. Once again, she's on people's radar. An exceptional young sailor, and really showing the boys how it's done at times this season. Ably assisted by Hugh and Jamie. There they are on camera. So there they are, the 2026. They're pretty happy. Stand up. That's our 2026 Manly 16s club champions.
Want to get the better side of you, Jamie.
Zoe Dransfield, Hugh Stoddart and Jamie Stoddart up in the bow. One more. We're just trying to get them lined up for a good shot. They'll get the sails trimmed so they don't capsize. How good's that? Absolutely fantastic. So Zoe, as I mentioned, our first female club champion at Manly. And, wow, aren't the girls doing an exceptional job in the 16-foot skiffs? Sarah Lee now with 2 national championships, not consecutive, a year in between, representing the St George Club. Zoe coming through. We've got our Earl girls team. We've got a scattering of other girls in the fleet with the likes of Sophie Hart, the Clancy sisters,
Eliza
Kirby coming through, and a lot of girls in the 13-foot skiffs. But it's fantastic, not just to have the diversity, but these girls are sailing exceptionally well. And that's the fastest Daniel Turner's going to go in the Buckingham Marine today. There's our club champs in the 13-foot skiffs. No one could even get close to these two. Heidi and Orlando sailed an absolutely brilliant season. Heidi Bates, Orlando Sadlick, sponsored by Harkin and Musto. And those two have a huge future in sailing, wherever they choose to, whatever direction they choose to go in. Super talented and really committed. The reason those two have got to the top is because they're so committed. They train hard. Their boat preparation's exceptional, and they've learnt valuable lessons, and they're only still very young. So, big future ahead for Heidi Bates and Orlando Sadlick, and they'll be moving into the 6. They've done everything even though Heidi's super young, they've done everything they wanted to achieve in the 13s, and they're ready to move full time into the 16-foot skiff next summer.
Well, Dole, thank you very much for your commitment to the Sail Media team this year and jumping in and offering your expert commentary for the season, particularly here for Manly, but also for the 18s. It's awesome to work alongside you. To Piers and Chits behind us, thanks guys for today. Tough day with a limited team. To Sammy and Dylan and Jono that have been part of the team as well. Thank you very much, guys. It's been a great season here at Manly. Unbelievable result with Zoe Dransfield and the Red Pumps Red team winning, with Heidi Bates in the Harkin team taking that out. And we'd just like to thank the Manly Skiff Club for the opportunity to bring these races to you live. We are deep in discussions for next season for both Manly and St George for the live streaming. So stay tuned and we will let you know when we will be back. But thank you very much, Dol.
No, thank you to Jimmy, from all of us to you, Jimmy, for without you putting this fantastic Sail Media operation together, and people don't realise you're not just driving a boat, you're navigating through sometimes horrendous traffic, and at the same time helping with chiming in with the commentary, and most importantly, you get the boat lined up to get the shots.
I try to. I've had many of a season.
You do a very good job of it, and yeah, as you mentioned, the boys who make our lives easy behind us, and especially thanks to everyone who tunes in and watches the sailing each week, because without the viewers watching and sending us comments and feedback, we wouldn't be hired by the organisations to bring you the sailing. So
yeah,
thank you to all of you. Thanks to the Sail Media team. Look forward to next year.
We just got past it, Nate. Congratulations to Buck and Simple, their first year in the 16-foot skiffs. Tom Cameron taking out the point score. So that's
awesome.
a pretty cool thing to put on your resume for your first season doing that. So well done to the Buck and Simple team. There they are on screen. So, all right, viewers, well, thank you very much for the 25-26 season. And this has been a Sail Media production for the Manly 16-foot Skiff Sailing Club.